The Ghana Union of Traders Association has urged the government to refrain from introducing new taxes in the upcoming budget. The finance minister is expected to present the budget to Parliament tomorrow. Now, ahead of the presentation, President of GUTA, Dr. Joseph Obin, has advised against the introduction of new taxes in an interview with ChannelOne News.
The taxes to be cut and then or to be rationalized and streamlined. At the same time, we want to enhance on revenue collection. We want to have increase in revenue. So in this case, you also see that government is also going to put in compliance measures that is also going to help increase the revenue. And also, we are not expecting new taxes.
Okay.
But we are not. We are also not going to be worried when new taxes are tailored to bring in people outside the tax net to pay. That one will not be worried. But what will be worried is just compounding the taxes on the few of us who pay. So expanding the tax net is welcome, and whatever means they do to rope in a lot more people who are outside the tax net to come in is also a welcome news.
Joining us via Zoom is economist and senior lecturer at the University of Ghana, Professor Godfred Bokpin, on his expectations ahead of the budget reading tomorrow. Prof, good morning to you. Thank you so much for your time. What kind of budget are you expecting from government tomorrow?
Yes, good morning, and good morning to our cherished listeners and viewers, and thank you for having me on this show. Yeah, the expectation is very high, even though we know what the challenges are, because it's the first budget of the new administration, given their manifesto promises and all of that. The only way the manifesto gets implemented is when it finds its way into the budget and all of that, and given the fact that there has been consensus that the economy was heavily taxed, and both political parties had promised to move the economy from taxation to production. I'm expecting that the tax would the 2025 budget would outline what the tax revisions will be, and my expectation is that e-levy, COVID-19 levy will go consistent with the government 120-day social contract with Ghanaians. We know what the fiscal losses will be, but to the extent that they can compensate for these losses through administrative and compliance reforms, especially along important tax handles like corporate income tax and then VAT and then other tax handles, there should be no problem from there. I'm also expecting that the budget will be heavy on fiscal consolidation through the legs of taxation and then expenditure rationalization. The government has signaled its intention to cut wasteful spending. So far, they haven't been able to put the numbers out there, and the expectation is that the 2025 budget would outline the wasteful expenditure cuts, the lean government across not only central government, but across state-owned enterprises. Then you're also looking at the monetary side. I'm expecting that the fiscal consolidation measures will be anchored within a broader governance and structural and productivity reforms, so that we are also able to increase the supply side of the economy. If you look at our inflation, essentially aggregate demand exceeding aggregate supply, we need to adopt supply-oriented policies in the 2025 budget and going into the medium to the long term. That is the only way we can enhance the economy's productive capacity to be able to create jobs. Then again, when it comes to infrastructure, we want to understand the framework, especially along the PPP, so that we can de-risk. Government need to indicate the strategy for de-risking the public sector balance sheet, so that we'll be able to free up space and then also upload some of the infrastructure that we want to do, especially economic infrastructure, on the private sector balance sheet. That way, we'll be able to meet our infrastructure push. We don't have the fiscal space to load that. But I think that overall, beyond the 2025 target and all of that, the medium-term outlook must also be consistent, bearing in mind the IMF-supported program and then also the constraints coming from the 2024 election. So in terms of the fiscal target for 2024, I know we have missed that. We expect that there will be an update in terms of what the fiscal situation is from 2024 election and all of that, even though we had the revised fiscal target of 3.5% of GDP in 2024 from the 4.7% or so, and the primary surplus of 0.5%. Certainly, we are going to miss that, given the pass-through of the arrears from the state-owned enterprises like Cocoa Board and then ECG and the others. Remember, almost all the state-owned enterprises are turning red in terms of their bottom line. So there's a lot to be expected from the budget, but at the same time, in terms of our expectations, I would advise that we also adopt some kind of moderate position, because it is not expected that a 1 year's budget can address all the challenges that we have, but at least it should be a strong foundation for us going forward.
Okay, Prof, on Saturday, we saw the finance minister visited some major markets here in Accra to seek the views of traders and then market women. How is this going to, the input that they gave the finance minister, how is it going to be put to good use for these market traders to get the benefit of their concerns that they reached out to government for?
Well, I was excited when I saw the minister. I felt that it was very innovative, right? Because sometimes a lot of the things we talk about in economics, the jargons, GDP and the rest of them, fiscal deficits, primary surplus and all of that. I mean, clearly, the market women who are the bedrock of our economy, working 24/7 or so, probably who have started working with the government 24-hour economy already, probably can't relate to it. And sometimes in terms of the input in the budget preparation process, if you look at the institutional arrangement for the budgeting process, we haven't catered for them that much. So it was quite exciting to see the minister come to their level, hear them in their own language, in their understanding of the economy. I believe that it will play a key role. Even psychologically, I believe that it checks the box. So I think that it was quite innovative.
Prof, thank you so much for your time. Always a pleasure speaking to you. We look forward to meeting you tomorrow when the government presents its budget to Parliament.